Mike Owens here, joined today by Cody Brundage, who returns to action next Saturday night, UFC Denver facing Abdul Razak Alhassan. Cody, always a pleasure, my man. How are things at you today?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
We've done this in Austin, we've done this in Las Vegas, now we're back to standard Zoom, so it's not as fun. I'll always like being in your presence, but how are emotions ahead of your return?
I feel really good, man. I'm in a good place. I feel like I had a really good camp. I'm always training, so it wasn't like I took a ton of time off after Bo Nickal. I was pretty healthy. So yeah, I'm good, man. It's been a good camp. It's always fun training in the summer. I love fighting in the summertime. It's better, it's warm, nice. So I'm looking forward to it.
I know you're a South Carolina boy, if memory serves, but I know that obviously you're based now in Colorado, so are you viewing this almost as a home game?
Yeah, I think it's a home game. I've been here for almost 4 years now. Obviously South Carolina is always my hometown, but Colorado is where I call home now. It's where both my kids were born, and so yeah, it's definitely a home game. Hopefully I actually have some cheers this time. That would be a rare occurrence for a Cody Brundage fight.
Which one's your favorite, South Carolina or Colorado?
It's different, man. It's hard because South Carolina, my whole family's there, and I miss my family. Colorado is great for other reasons. I have my gym family here, but I think maybe being away from South Carolina, I would say I miss South Carolina. If I was living in South Carolina, I might say Colorado. So I'm not sure.
But in all seriousness, how does kind of that home game, or how does fighting in your home state, does that change things in terms of preparation, in terms of camp? I presume it changes things in terms of your Instagram DMs, people asking you for tickets, but as a whole, how do things change fighting at home?
Oh, it's not too much of a change financially. It's way better. I don't have a ton of expenses. I think people don't really think about that part, but I'm not paying for a bunch of hotel rooms. I'm not paying to rent a car. I'm not paying for everyone's meals all week.
Mm.
So I save quite a bit of money, and then just convenience. I could train at my gym, cut weight at my gym, be around my team, have that good energy, good vibes. All those things are positives. And as far as like people asking me for tickets, I told them weeks ago, hey, here's the link for tickets. If you get them, you get them. If not, don't hit me up. So I don't haven't had to deal with that too much, and I think it's all a blessing, man. I think fighting at home is all a blessing. I don't really think there's added pressure or anything like that. Fighting in the UFC, there's already enough pressure,
Mm.
so I'm viewing it all as pretty positive.
I caught up with the Raw Dog a couple of weeks ago, Brandon Royval, and we were talking about his kind of surprise that the UFC doesn't come to Denver more. I think it's the first time since 2018, 2019, certainly
Yeah,
pre-pandemic. Are you surprised, given that this is where the UFC started, that the UFC hasn't made
yeah,
it more of a regular base?
everybody says it's the elevation thing, but they go to Mexico City, they go to Salt Lake, so I don't really know if it's what the deal is. Denver has such a rich history in
Mm.
MMA, and so you would think they'd be here more. Yeah, the last time they were here was 2018. My wife was actually on the card. It was at
Wow.
yeah, it was at the same arena but a different name. That's how long it's been. So hopefully, this is a change, and they start to come more often. And I think Denver's a good spot. The fans here love MMA. It's got a good MMA culture. So hopefully they make that transition.
Abdul Razak Hassan, excuse me. What do you make of him?
Huh?
What do you
What'd you
make
say?
of him?
Sorry.
What do you make of your next opponent?
He's a beast, man. He throws heat. He's not afraid to get into the fire. All his wins, except for one, I think, are first round knockouts.
Mm.
I have all first round finishes. So, as a fan looking at this fight, I feel like you have to be excited, and I feel like it's a fight that you would be really, really you wouldn't overlook it for sure. So I think the fans should be excited, and yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Abdul. He was at the first ever UFC live event I went to. He knocked out Hamasi, so I've followed his career for quite a while, and now to fight him is cool. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, as mentioned, as much as a lot of your finishes have come early, a lot of his losses have either come late or by points. So is the game plan to match fire with fire, or is the game plan? I know you can't give everything away, but is the game plan more to match fire with fire,
Ah,
or more
man, I
to?
don't know. It's I mean, there's definitely a game plan there, but you know me, bro. When I get in there, we just kind of throw caution to the wind and get after it. So, yeah, I think mixing of the martial arts has always been something that he maybe that's the way you beat him, right? You see the guys that
Mm.
beat him, they do a good job of mixing the martial arts and not being put on the back foot. And I feel like those are all important things. And yeah, but I'm definitely not afraid to get in the fire with him. And I'm sure there'll be some pretty wild exchanges early for sure.
With that being said, and if Coach Mark sees this, you're probably going to be livid with me. But how much of the game plan is staying away from his power? Because it does feel like that's his ace in the hole, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we're all 200-pound men throwing 3-ounce gloves, right? So there's going
Mm.
to be some power from everybody. If you don't have power at this division, it's you're going to have a hard time, right? So Staying away from the power is definitely a big part of the game, but that's more instinct than anything else. There's no like specific thing. Like being defensively sound is obviously a big part of any game plan, but I think, you know, yeah, I feel like everybody should be wary of somebody who has one shot knockout power. Just like he's got to stay away from my power, you know. I feel like if he's not wary of my power, I can put him out with one shot as well. So yeah.
It's interesting, Cody, because talk about the contrast of styles, fight to fight. You fight a guy with arguably, or as everybody tells me, I don't really understand wrestling pedigree, but as arguably the best wrestling pedigree ever, supposedly.
Yeah.
With not the best striking, let's say, to a guy with knockout power and maybe not the best ground game. How have you prepared and how have you adjusted to preparing for completely different styles? Fight over fight.
Yeah, well, you know, I feel like if you watch all my fights, you couldn't really say what kind of fighter I am. Like, am I a wrestler? Am I a striker? You know, like, so I feel like it fits me, right? That everyone I fight is so different in style because I'm still figuring it out myself. You know, I'm still trying to figure out what kind of fighter I am. And I don't really, you know, we focus on a game plan, but I just try to train really hard and get better in all areas. And I feel like as long as I'm doing that, you know, especially at the stage I'm at now, I can beat most guys. So I feel like that's the big thing is there's not a huge transition period. It's just like, hey, let's get better in every aspect. And then when it's time to fight, we'll be ready to rock.
The last time we spoke was obviously thinking on the Thursday of fight week in your hotel room. Always go getting those hotel room interviews in with you. But how do you reflect on the overall experience of UFC 300?
I mean, it was definitely, you know, once in a lifetime experience. It was cool. It was such a great opportunity. I wish I would have cashed in on it, taken advantage of it. I didn't feel outclassed when I was in the fight, you know. I just think I got a little overzealous. I didn't keep my composure as well as I probably should have, and that led to him having some success. And props to him, you know, he was able to finish the fight, and you know, he's going to be a problem in the division for sure. But you know, I feel like I could have represented myself even a little bit better than I did. And but as far as the experience, it was awesome. I'm grateful to be in the UFC. I love getting to do this, and you know, it's my passion. So it was cool to be a part of that event, and you know, hopefully we get into another big one soon.
Were you able to kind of enjoy the experience? I mean, I think I remember us having a conversation and you were saying like, I think I kind of just want to get all this press conference, all this media, or everyone asking me questions about the other guy kind of over. Were you able to actually take it in and enjoy it to an extent?
Yeah, you know, I enjoyed it for sure. I feel like anytime it's a fight week, it's stressful. When you look back on it, you're like, oh man, that was really fun. That was a good time. I think in the thick of it, it was maybe hard to really enjoy it. But I feel like looking back on it, I was like, man, I did enjoy it. I have some good memories from it. And so, yeah, I feel like overall it was a good experience.
Did you feel there was a lot made of the betting odds? Did you feel like your performance, you kind of, for lack of a better phrase, legitimized yourself and proved that those betting odds were a little bit too high because it was a very close fight until it wasn't?
Yeah, you know, I feel like the odds were crazy. I feel like odds like that in MMA are insane, right? Like no one is ever a guarantee in this sport because it's just so a game of inches. You know, you land one hard shot, you can change the whole fight. So I felt like the odds were super disrespectful, and not even just for me, like anyone fighting. It doesn't matter. Like odds like that are ridiculous. But I don't know if I legitimized myself. I always felt like I could compete with that kid, and I still feel like if I had to fight him tomorrow, I feel like I could compete with him. So maybe legitimize myself to other people, but to myself, I didn't feel like I really changed how I felt. You know.
Well, talking about this fight, what do you feel like a win over Abdul does for you in this division?
Oh, I mean, I think it's a good win. You know, another notch in the belt. Hopefully, this will be my third fight on my new contract. So hopefully, renegotiate, get a new deal, and then fight 2 more times. You know, I love staying active. I want to fight 4 times a year at a minimum, maybe more. So I'll be right back in the gym training. And like I said, this is what I love to do. It's my passion. I'm still young in the game, and I have a lot of energy, and I'm ready to stay busy. You know, I don't know if it does anything rankings wise or anything like that, but it's just good, man. Winning in the UFC is hard, so getting another win is great.
Feel like activity is always the key for you. I feel like when you go on those win streaks is when you're active and when you're fighting fight over fight. How important is that for you? And how much does that kind of how much more comfortable do you feel in there when you're getting in there regularly?
Yeah, I feel like it becomes more routine, right? Like fighting is scary. People tell you it's not are lying. Fighting is super scary. It's nerve wracking, and being able to deal with those nerves and the fear and things like that on a more regular basis, I feel like obviously makes it easier. And the only way you do that is through repetition. And so, you know, staying active is a key part of that for sure.
Yeah. The title's up for grabs in your division next month. We saw the press conference Tuesday between Izzy and DDP. How do you see this all playing out? And if you had to give me a prediction, who are you leaning towards?
I find that super weird that DDP is always like, I stayed in South Africa. I never left. I've always been here. I've never gone anywhere else. And like people just accept that. But like he was at Hard Knocks for a while. Like he was at Sanford MMA for a while training there. But people never bring that up. Like, but that was it's a well-known fact. He was there for a few fights. Like, so I find that odd. I don't know, bro. I think Izzy gets it done just because it's hard to bet against Izzy. I think the Strickland fight, not that it was a fluke, but I feel like it was an off performance from Izzy. I think he has a good style to beat Dricus. I think he'll get it done, but at the same time, Dricus, nobody thought he'd beat Whitaker. Nobody thought he'd beat all these guys that he's beat. So if he gets it done, I won't be surprised. But if I had to bet on it, I would say I think Izzy gets it done.
And I want to pick your brains as well on another topic because I'm hearing a lot lately about the debate about who's pound for pound number one. Is it John Jones? Is it Alex Pereira? Is it Islam? Does Leon sneak in there? I mean, I'm going to ask you. This is kind of my new question to all the fighters I speak to. Who in your mind is number one pound for pound and why?
Yeah, it's so weird. I think pound for pound is such a weird, it has so many different criterias from people, right? Like obviously Pereira has been very active and he's had some big wins. So people are like, oh, well, his activity makes him pound for pound. To me, I don't think that makes you pound for pound number one. Pound for pound number one is who would win in any fight against anybody at any weight. I think if you don't have John Jones in the number one spot, you're crazy, right? And I'm not even a John Jones fan. I don't really like the guy. But if you're talking about a dude who can beat any single person in a fight at any single weight, you got to go John Jones, right? Like, do you think Alex Pereira would beat John Jones in a fight? I would say no.
No.
And so for me, I don't understand how you put Alex Pereira number one pound for pound over John Jones. I get he hasn't been active, but I have to go John Jones number one. And I would probably honestly put Islam. Well, I don't know. I'd put maybe Islam Pereira maybe tied for two for what they've been doing. I feel like they've been super active and then maybe Leon three. Leon and Tom Aspinall three even. Because I don't think a lot of guys beat Tom Aspinall. I don't think he really gets the respect he deserves. Honestly, like I would maybe even put him too because pound for pound is a funny thing, bro. I don't know if John Jones beats Tom Aspinall. I'd put him at one, but I don't know if he beats Tom Aspinall. That's the fight I want to see. John's like, I'm waiting until Stipe. I think that's probably smart by John. I think Aspinall is a horrible matchup for him. But yeah, I guess I'd put John Jones one right now just because of what we know, right? Like the unknown obviously is a question, but what we know, he has to be one.
Second follow up to that, who's pound for pound number one out of Factory X Muay Thai?
Pound for pound number one out of my gym? Oof. So many talented dudes.
That's a tough one. You're going to upset somebody.
Yeah, Coach Mark, probably. Oh, man. There's so many talented guys at this gym. I know it's not me. That's what I know. I know it's not me. I can't really say who number one is. I know it's not Cody Brundage. So it's one of these guys, bro. There's so much talent in this gym.
We'll turn the conversation back to you for one last question. As you know, I finish all my interviews with this one. You can be as brief or as detailed as you like, but give me a walkthrough of the perfect day next Saturday.
Yeah, I think the first round is going to be a chaos, man. He comes out hot, I come out hot. So I think there'll be some chaos. There'll be some wild exchanges. I feel like the mixing of the martial arts kind of gives me an edge. And, come second and third, up at this elevation, we'll see who slows down first. I don't think it's going to be me. So, I feel like I get him out of there, find a way to find a finish. I'm a finisher. So I just think it maybe comes a little bit later than usual.
I love it. Well, look, Cody, always good catching up. As I mentioned, it is always better in person. What you need to do is you need to finish Abdul in the first round, and then you need to go to Dana. You need to say, I want to fight on the Manchester card so Mike can watch.
Oh, yeah.
And we can keep
I'm trying to get out there already, bro. I'm trying. My plan is get out there. I already told Molly. I said, I'm going to get out there. Don't worry about it. So get this finished and then get busy for sure.
Well, if you're there, let's meet up and let's celebrate another W.
Yeah, of course. Definitely.